thing and they ask you questions, you have some kind of answer or guidance to give them. All right. The first thing I would say about recruiting is be realistic. Okay. Be realistic both academically and athletically. All right. For example, I'm not the best. I know I wasn't the best student growing up, so I wouldn't go and apply to Northwestern or Stanford. All right. I'm going to save the rejection letter. I'm going to save the enrollment fee, and I'm going to put my energy where I know I'm going to get the most bang for my buck. All right. So you have a kid that comes up to you and says, "Coach, I want to play Division I softball." That's great. Understand that that is a wide range of opportunity. Okay. There are about 300 Division I softball teams. Their average roster size is about 20 to 22. I don't know what that is. Again, I'm not the best student, but that's a lot of roster spots. Okay, that's a lot of opportunity. And then beyond that is you have D2, you have D3, you have JUCO, you have NAIA, right? That's thousands of opportunities. So if you have a kid that comes up to you and says, "I want to play college softball," understand that that is super, super feasible, but to not limit themselves, right? If they say, "I want to play Division I softball and it has to be in the Pac-12 conference," right? You're limiting yourself to like 8 schools, okay? So if they want to go play Division I softball, tell them, yeah, you can do that. Let's be realistic about our academic goals and our athletic goals, okay? So you have this list of schools that you want. How do you get seen by them? The first thing I would do is I would go to camp, okay? Camp is the #1 way to get seen, and it has a lot of benefits for me as the college coach, and it has a lot of benefits for the student athlete. All right? For the student athlete, the first thing that I would take note of is usually they have their players working camp. Take note about how you're getting talked to at those camps, because the student athlete, the way you're getting talked to is the way they're getting talked to. Does that make sense? The coaching that they're receiving, they're just passing it down at camp. So that's the first thing. Did you like their verbiage? Did you like the way they delivered the message? Did it make sense? All right. If you go to camp, that's the first thing you can pick up. All right. If I go to the school, I really didn't like the verbiage that they use, so you can cross it off. Or maybe you really liked it, so it's still on. But the student athletes, again, are just surrogates, essentially. The way they're getting talked to is the way you're going to get talked to once you get there. So keep all that in mind, all right? The biggest benefit for me is I get to see a ton of reps. Seriously, I go to a game sometimes, I'm watching the hitter, they might go 0 for 1 with 2 sack bunts and a walk, right? I didn't get to see anything. And again, if we're in, also as you travel walk in high school coaches, if we come to your game, don't have your kid sack bunt, please. Please, especially if it's an exposure tournament. But again, right, I might not got to see anything. They come to my camp, I'm front tossing them about 50 balls each. I'm throwing to them, I'm hitting them ground balls. I get to see anything I want. Also, I get to see how they react to my coaching, right? Are they picking up what I'm putting down? Are they at least trying to make the adjustment that I'm talking about? I get to see all these things firsthand and in real time. So I love that. Also, kid comes to my camp, I know she's interested. I don't have to, I go recruit at a tournament, I see a kid that catches my eye, the first thing I think is, oh, but can I get this kid? Like, she's from California, does she want to come all the way to Alabama? Right? If a kid from California comes to my camp, I know she's interested or she wouldn't be here. Right? So camp is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. All right? And then when it comes to travel ball teams, so your kids saying, "Coach, I don't know what travel ball team to play for." The biggest advice I would give them is they have the list of schools that they want to attend, right? Go to the roster of those schools and see the travel ball teams those kids played for, right? And then beyond that, look at those teams and then see what tournaments they routinely go to, okay? And then beyond that, if you want all NAIA schools at your in front of you, go to that tournament and say, "Give me a 2-year list of the college coaches that have been to your tournament in the last 2 years." I say 2 years because it changes all the time. When I first got into coaching at Illinois, I went to Orlando, Florida every Halloween weekend. I don't go there now. I haven't been there since pre-COVID. Again, it just changes. Alliance is a new division kind of conflicting with PGF. It just started 2 years ago, right? It's in its third summer, this next go around. So if you ask for the list of schools that have been to those tournaments, they're gonna give you the whole thing. And that could be a 20-year list. And so yeah, every school in America is there. Does that make sense? So give me a 2-year list, and then if you're the travel ball coach, and you wanna be in front of the coaches that routinely go, then you can enroll in this tournament. Does that make sense? It's worth the entry fee or whatever, because again, let's just say you have a team full of Division I athletes, then all these Division I coaches are there. Or you have a team full of Division II athletes, all these D2 coaches are going to this tournament, whatever the case may be, all right? Also, for exposure, your kid's trying to get seen, try to just be elite at one thing in their game, right? So if they have this 70 overhand throw, I can't teach that, right? She's elite at that, I'm gonna recruit that, right? She has a 70 mile per hour overhand throw, but her backhand sucks, I don't care. Her forehand sucks, I don't care, right? Because I know I can't teach a 70 overhand throw, right? Montana Fouts throws 70 miles an hour, I'm gonna recruit her because I can't teach that. But I can finesse other parts of her game to make her better, but I can't find 70 miles an hour every day. So yeah, if she's elite at that, I'm gonna recruit it. Or she runs a 2.7, but she's like Bambi in the outfield, that's okay. I can un-Bambi her with our coaching and with our strength and conditioning staff, right? So whatever their strengths are, try to make those strengths really, really good, and don't spend a ton of time on their weaknesses. Because that's all the kid ever hears anyways, is like, your weaknesses are this and this and this, and that's fine. It's good for them to know. But they're not gonna get recruited or not recruited based off of that. Does that make sense? I'm gonna recruit a kid based on her strength and know that I can develop it. Does that make sense? What's the other things on there? And then whenever you're researching schools, so you have these schools, you want to try to analyze the culture the best that you can from the outside looking in, all right? And that can be really difficult. The one thing I would say is use the alumni base, all right? Get on Twitter, figure out who an alum was, get in contact with them, and usually they'll tell you full transparency about their experience, right? They want you to have a good experience. They're gonna just tell you what it is, right? If it's good, bad, ugly, and honestly, I would want to know good, bad, and ugly so I can make the most informed decision. Tell me your worst experience at that school. Tell me your best, right? All right. Again, I'm just trying to make an informed decision. The other thing that we look for a lot in recruits is intangibles. Every recruit that comes here, we sit them down with their parents in these seats right here and say, what intangible are you going to bring to Alabama softball? And we did this at Illinois, and I had a pitcher, who was a 5th-year senior there now, and she said, I'm gonna be calm. Like, I'm gonna be the calmest pitcher that you ever seen. So in 2021, we're playing Big Ten only, and we play teams 6 times, which is idiotic, but that's another soapbox. And she starts our games versus Northwestern. She wins game 1, and then game 2 is Saturday doubleheader. It's Friday single, Saturday double, Sunday single. We start our game 2 against Northwestern, and she gets 6 2/3 innings. We have a 1-run lead in the 7th. There's a runner at first. There's 2 strikes, and there's a 2-run home run. Northwestern wins the game on a walk-off. And in the huddle, she said, guys, we win some, we lose some. We got a game in 30 minutes, we got to refocus. But okay. So different pit kid starts game 3. She gets 6 2/3 innings. We are up 1 run in the 7th. You've heard this before. And she conveniently walks the bases loaded. So I said, Sydney, that same kid, I said, Sydney, you're gonna go in and get this last out. And 3-2 count, the batter's fouling off a bunch of pitches, swing and miss, strike 3, we win the game. We go to the huddle, she says, guys, we win some, we lose some, we gotta refocus, we have a game tomorrow, right? That is her executing that intangible to a T. And those are things, when I go out and recruit, I can't see that, right? I can see that she can throw, I can see that she can hit, I can see that she can feel a good backhand, I can see all those things everybody else can see, but I can't see what's in her heart and why she plays softball. So, again, go to a school where that's valued, right? Where those things are going to be asked of you each and every time out. because we recruit those just as much as we recruit any measurable that we can find. Other random questions I got about recruiting: yes, we watch parents a lot, and yes, we won't recruit a kid if their parents are crazy and acting a fool at games. Twitter, social media, we do look at it. I've been telling people just my experience with it. Just be careful about who you're tagging. It's so funny, I was at Illinois and I was really interested in this kid and I was liking everything on her social media, but she'd never tagged me in anything. And so by the time September 1st came around, I knew she wasn't interested in me. But then I took a new job at Alabama, and the second day on the job, who's tagging me in their stuff? That same kid, right? So again, you're doing that, and that's fine if you want to do it, but you're limiting yourself, right? Because if I go to that kid's Twitter and see she hasn't liked a post, she hasn't tagged a post, then why am I going to waste my time, right? So I would just be cognizant of, I might just tag the travel ball organization, I might tag whoever's with you in the workout, whatever. I might tag NCAA softball, whatever, you know? But if you're tagging specific schools, you're just telling the world, all right, I'm limiting myself to these specific schools, right? So it's kind of a slippery slope, a game that you're playing. Again, I'm not here to tell you to do one way or the other, just telling you my experience with it. But it is something we look at, I'll tell you that, I look at it a lot. And then if your kid's doing videos, if they can put a measurable with it, that's super beneficial towards me. Like if they run down first base, give me the home to first time on a radar or on a stopwatch. If they're pitching, have that pocket radar out and just throw a pitch, put the pocket radar out behind it. Again, those are all things that video's hard and like vague, but those are things I can concretely say, okay, that's legit, you know? Recruiting services, I got asked about this. Personally, I've never used them before. I've never had a recruiting service contact me ever.
That's not what they say.
Yeah, and I'm not here to tell you that they do or don't. I'm just telling you from my experience that it's never happened. If you're gonna do it, I would just say be really cognizant about the service they provide and make a sound decision based off of that. But again, I personally never used it.
What's the one thing that catches your eye the most about a kid?
Being a lead at one thing, and being a servant leader with others, and not having their parents do everything for them. Carrying their bag after.
Just individual, just a kid that's individual.
Yeah, she's very independent.
Of the parents.
Yeah. I will say it's the biggest turn off after a game, and like the mom's carrying the backpack to the car, or the dad, or whatever. I recruit the player where the coach gets on their ass and they're fine.
So you would rather, if you're looking at a kid with elite skills, you probably want to see them fail to see that how
Yes,
they handle
I
it
want to see the reactions 100%.
when they fail,
Yes.
if you can tell.
Yeah, I hope they do fail, honestly. And again, I'm 100% honed in on their reactions. And because I know the way they treat their parents is how I'm going to get treated to a degree. And I'm not carrying your back. I promise you that. So those are things we look for a lot. You know, I'm going to recruit the kid who's getting pinch hit for, and the kid's coming up and she says, I got you, right?
At what age would you have them start coming to camps?
I would say high school, freshman. I mean, we develop a list. It's not like we can have any recruitable activity until junior year, but we're developing a list to follow up on all the time. And if they come as a freshman, the earlier on the list, the better. The more camps you can go to, you know.
We do have 14-year-old freshman in high school camps, and all the things we've been talking about so far is the best way to get on the young side.
That's it. That's 100%.
It seems like some schools though, the camps, you know, you don't want to say this, but they can be a money grab for the school.
That's what I
because
was
it's an
told.
income generator. And then you see they have a like more of a prospect camp, and it's more limited to the number of players that they take, because sometimes when you have 200 players, you know, you think,
Yeah,
I think this is a
would
money
map
grab.
all that out, and if usually, in my experience, the fall camps are the more individualized ones. The summer camps are larger, And I would ask all those questions. What's your capacity here? Because again, you're gonna get seen more from a smaller camp than you are a bigger
Yeah,
camp.
makes sense.
But I can tell you, we use Camp for recruiting a lot. We have a camp database that we use that, has all of our campers in it. Yeah, we use it a lot, but I understand where you're going with it.
You guys utilize the field level program, like where the videos are loaded, the kids and?
I don't.
Okay.
I've actually
I didn't
never-
know how widespread it was. It seems to be big around Ohio, but I didn't know how far out about it is.
Yeah, I've never used it, to be honest.
Is high school something that you even consider? Like,
I've been to a few high school games, not a ton, to be honest with you, and the reason is, usually in high school, they're playing against one player that might be a college level kid. Travel ball, it's called kids versus college kids, like PSA, they're gonna get elite competition with it. I will say again, you don't have to play for the best travel ball team though, you really don't. That's kind of a money grab in my opinion, but.
But don't you, the top pitchers or hitters, you want to see how they do against the best pitchers or hitters, right?
Right, for sure. So again, just be at the tournament they're at,
Yeah.
right? That's all. And then we get to see all that, and then, we get the most bang for our buck there too.
Rotate.
Thank you guys.
yeah,
Can you send it to me?
I can give you my phone number.